When I was in high school, I picked up debate, Model UN, public speaking, Toastmasters. And when I started doing those as extracurriculars, one of the core tenets of the activity is you need to do a lot of research. You need to research different sources from multiple perspectives, come up with arguments, be able to articulate them clearly, and be persuasive enough to convince somebody else to buy your argument over somebody else. And we would cover all sorts of topics. I got the opportunity to learn about so many different things. One, because I was in a lot of different styles of debate and extracurriculars that demanded the same skills, but for different subjects. And second, it was because there were a range of topics that were covered, from international politics and technology, all the way over to philosophy, all the way over to policy. And so I was able to explore and really dive deep into a variety of topics. Then one day while I was sitting in class, I just kind of had a realization that my academics were very much supported by the debate and Model UN and other research and speaking oriented extracurriculars that I was doing. When I realized this, I took away two things from that experience, which I use until this day. The first is if you create a funnel where the information that you learn once can be useful to you in a variety of different ways, you will be more motivated to learn it, be more likely to retain it, and be more likely to benefit from that knowledge. The second thing that I took away from that experience was that in order to make the funnel effective, I had to inject my own personality and fun and humor into it. Now, on the funnel side, debate ended up being wonderful because there were so many classes where I walked in and I already knew a lot of what was being discussed in class, what the assignments would cover. I was familiar with a lot of the readings that I needed to do. And then that ended up leading me to pursue my degree in public policy and data science because coming in, I already knew a lot. So that was really helpful. The second thing was making it fun. I really enjoyed debate and Model UN, and these extracurriculars were very fulfilling for my soul. And once those activities ended, I was left with this problem of I don't have these extracurriculars anymore that act as my learning funnel. And I'm not exactly a teacher, so unless I have somebody here to consistently teach, it's going to be pretty hard for me to use Richard Feynman's technique. So what do I do? And I decided personally that I would create my Substack and make this YouTube channel. I came upon this realization when I was writing in my journal, and I had written so much that I had collected essentially a longitudinal self-study of me in the process of becoming. I started journaling at age 10. I have multiple journals that are completely filled. I'm almost done with my current journal, so I'm going to have to get another one in a couple days. And that's when I realized I was subconsciously taking the things I was learning and journaling about them, about my own life, and reinforcing that information. And I also felt really great at the end of it because I created something. I was able to show something tangible, personal, and so authentically me. Granted, nobody else is ever going to see those journals, but the fact that I at least have them for myself gave me so much internal satisfaction, so much freedom, and so much of an ability to explore. And that's how I felt with writing as well and reading. I've always loved writing and reading and researching and really learning. So I figured out, there's so many things that I want to learn, and I'm obsessed with figuring it out. I'm obsessed with behavioral economics and game theory and cognitive neuroscience and outer space policy and international affairs and finance and philosophy and spirituality and wellness and nutrition. And there are so many things that I want to learn that now that I have the agency to learn everything, I really wanted to make sure that I could retain everything that I learned. So when I created my Substack and my YouTube channel, it created this perfect opportunity where every single piece of information I learn is now useful to me. I can make content out of it. I can write out of it. I can use that self-directed research and reading to benefit myself in my career or to come to personal realizations that improve the quality of my life. And so the same knowledge has a diversity of utility. And then I also injected my personality into it. I love applied neuroscience, for example, and it's something that really answers and explores a lot of the things that I am personally curious about. And I also love humor. I love comedy. My favorite internship ever was when I worked for a startup game company that's in New York, and I was just working on these super fun games, like card games and board games, and just figuring out how to be funny and witty and resonating with people and making them laugh. So I thought, let me bring that to my writing. I've written so much academically, like research papers, professional writing. And on top of that, I am a college consultant. So I write a lot of essays for other people. I found that the most engaging forms of writing for me were ones where I got to inject personality into them. And actually, furthermore, I should say that my Substack is actually the brainchild of my clients, because as I was consulting more and more students to help them with their essays, I realized that we were having so much fun with it. And my students just kept telling me, you should start a Substack, you should start a YouTube channel, you should write and publish what you write because it's very fun. And I found writing college essays very fun for the explicit reasons, which is essentially just every piece of information I ever learned could become useful in a college application essay. I could find so many ways to disseminate what I had learned and also help somebody else further their educational future. The way that everything interrelated between the college consulting and the Substack and the YouTube and the reading and my job and my learning, I was able to make learning very fun and very fulfilling and very rewarding. And it really, really can be. I know that for all of us, we're kind of traumatized when it comes to learning because of the way it was modeled to us through academic institutions. Academic institutions are a uniquely horrible model for learning. I really need you to take that in. I went to a prestigious university. I went to the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, and I probably did less learning when I was in my classes than when I was studying independently. It all ended up reinforcing each other since the subjects were very similar. A time limit on how much time you have to learn something and expecting perfection across the board when you learn something is probably the reason why students don't enjoy the process of learning. And I understand where you're coming from. I've been in your shoes. It's so hard to focus on really enjoying what I'm learning when I know that I have a problem set due in 24 hours on what I'm learning, and I need to have a 99% on it because my grade is determined by averages. I get it. It's hard. It sucks. Nobody wants learning to be that way. And it doesn't have to be. It was honestly the same with PE. I hated working out for a long time, but it was because the way exercise was modeled to me was through PE. PE was a uniquely horrible model to introduce children to working out. Everybody was held to the same standard and had to do the same things regardless of whether they liked it or not. So it was very tough. Learning can be extremely fulfilling and really fun if you Find a way to make everything you learn applicable. It can be through something you create at your job. If you're teaching somebody, make it immediately applicable, because the faster you're able to deploy what you're learning, the more likely it is that you will retain what you learned. Inject your personality into it. Make it fun. If memes help you learn, if acronyms help you learn, if making jokes help you learn, anything that makes you retain what you're learning, lean into that. It's okay if other people don't understand. I think a lot of people would cry if they looked at my econometrics notes, because there are just memes upon memes plastered in my econometrics notes, and it turned a subject that is very dry and scary and unenjoyable into something that gave me a lot of joy and laughter and ended up becoming a subject I like. I never thought I would gaslight myself into wanting to personally explore instrumental variables, but here we are. Panel data, cluster, standard errors. I literally found a way to make it fun and applicable. And now the other benefit is when you make learning fun and immediately applicable to your own life, you actually expand past the range of what you thought was possible for you to learn. We figure out what we're relatively good at a very young age. We have a little bit of a sampling period. We try different extracurriculars. We start to get an idea of the stream that we tend to engage the best with or have natural talent. The problem is that people then create a invisible self-limitation on what it is that they can possibly learn. And I am so guilty of this. When I was growing up, once I figured out that my strongest subjects were in the humanities and not math and science, I fully leaned into optimizing that. And to be fair, I was able to become, nationally and internationally renowned in the things that I do. And so it was very helpful for me to gain a level of mastery that I'm really happy with. That said, the notion that I had of not being able to learn math and science, or these subjects being too different for me, unattainable, was a lie. And the second I no longer had a clock ticking behind me, a GPA to worry about, a problem set to execute perfectly on, my desire to work on all of these other subjects just naturally came about. And being able to make it fun and make it applicable let me start really leaning into things that I am not good at and I want to learn, and know that it will take me some time and iteration in order to get to where I want to be with those skills. And it's okay. It's okay for me to be a beginner again and set off on this journey where I get to learn a lot of other things that I'm not good at yet. And I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. When you figure out what your purpose is behind the learning that you pursue, you will learn so much. For me, I'm very driven by curiosity. And so when I get to the end of my life, I want to be able to say I learned a little bit about everything I possibly could. The world is so vast. The universe is so vast. There's an unlimited amount of things that I can learn. So yeah, I would have liked to explore a slice of that by the time I get to the end. And that's what really drives me. That's what really motivates me to learn. It's just curiosity. So whatever it is for you, whether it's mastery, autonomy, curiosity, find what it is that goes behind your learning. And I promise you, the world will open up to you like a whole oyster. There is so much fun waiting to be had in the process of learning. And the reason you haven't discovered it yet is not because you're a bad learner. It's just because nobody taught you how to do it in a properly fun and engaging way. But you are capable of learning. You are intelligent. You are bright. You are a miracle walking this earth. And so think about how much more powerful you will be when you are equipped with the tools and the knowledge that you are personally passionate about. There are people in this world who will be helped by the things that you learn. So I promise you, learning is so fun and it's totally worth it. I just think that we all had a very bad introduction to it. So yeah, hope this helped. Have a great night.